Okay, good morning and welcome to Just Daf It, Daf Shir. Maseches Yevamos. We're learning Yevamos Sam Gimel 63. We're in the middle of the sugya of Pru about propagating in the world. We learned yesterday that there's a mitzvah to have a boy and a girl, according to the accepted opinion of halacha. Today, we're going to learn some Agadita about a good wife versus a bad wife. What makes a wife a good wife or a bad wife? If you have a bad wife, what should you do with her? You get rid of her? Sounds like a Gemara. They're supposed to divorce a wife who's bad. The Gemara defines what a bad wife is. For all those people out there who have a bad wife and they're listening, get your gittin ready. Call up your local sofer and you're ready to divorce your wife. Did you hear that right? The Gemara seems to imply that you should divorce them. It says it in two places. The Rishonim are not so happy with that. Usually we assume you don't just divorce a wife, especially nowadays with the utter embarrassment, society. You lose your whole life if you divorce your wife. Can't really mean that you divorce your wife. So what does it mean? That will be the topic of Ian with Ben Sion, trying to navigate the tricky situation of having a woman who's a bad wife. Some people really have good wives. They think their wives are bad wives. But if you have a bad wife, you probably don't think your wife is a good wife. Are you delusional? Um, anyway, we're going to learn about that today. We're going to learn about different advices in terms of doing business. What you should do business. Is it preferable to buy real estate or to invest in the stock market? Topics included in today's daf. You're not going to want to miss this. It started as a long daf. Hopefully we'll finish in half an hour. All right. The Gemara says on the bottom of Samach Beis with Beis, Tana Rabbanan, 2 lines from the bottom. He loves his wife like himself. Can you love someone like yourself? Everyone knows you only love yourself. Who do you love the most in the world? I hope the person you love the most in the world is yourself. If you love someone else like your wife, you're going to see what the consequences of that. And you, the Rambam says, you're supposed to honor your wife more than you, and more sensitive emotionally. You set them on the right path, your children, to be tzaddikim, cheder, learning Yiddish. And you marry your kids off right when they're ready to get married, when they're 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old. Rishonim say we're talking about Samach Pirkan close to the age of bar mitzvah. I mean, it's kind of hard to understand. Samach Pirkan is when they mature, they're ready to get married physically. Probably not emotionally. About that person, we know that he has peace in his tent. Again, the Gemara seems like these are all good things. I would say all these things are not good things. You should love yourself the most. You should honor your wife maybe as much as yourself, but not more than yourself. You have to honor yourself the most. Um, I don't know. I mean, I really believe Chanach L'nar al Pi Darko really means that you let your kid make decisions which way he wants to go in life. Al Pi Darko, not Darko that if he wants, he really should be Haredi, but he can choose which Masechta to learn. He can learn Gittin or learn Kedushin. Al Pi Darko, whichever way he chooses in life. I'm seeing Semach Pirka. I don't think it's a good thing. I really believe people should get married when they're more mature. 28 for boys, maybe girls 27. So you'll have peace in your tent. All the Gemara is saying you'll have peace. Not that you'll have a good life. You'll have peace. Shalom Bayis. Is Shalom Bayis the ideal? Or Shalom Bayis is the bare minimum? Shalom Bayis, you don't want to have fights in your house all the time. You don't have a good marriage, you have Shalom Bayis. Doesn't necessarily equate one with the other. Someone who loves his neighbor, Hamakariv, his Krovov, someone who's close to his relatives. I know says Basachos, so you marry your daughter, your sister's daughter, your niece. Vemalave, Tapos Samakum and Aleph, Malave Selil, Ani Bashas Doko. Poor person comes to you, he really has nothing, and you lend him some money. You don't give him charity, you lend him some money. When you call out to Hashem, I'll answer you. I'll answer you on account of these good deeds that you did. I believe these things are good things. These things, it's very hard to have a good relationship with your neighbors. You have to treat your neighbors fairly. You're supposed to have a good relationship with your relatives. These are things that people don't generally work on. Marrying your niece, don't know about that, but it's important. At least lend money to a poor person when he's in really needs the money. Really needs the money. They're turning off his electricity. You should lend them the money, not give it stucco. All right. Amar Elazar, call Adam she'ein lo isha eino Adam. If you don't have a wife, you're not a man. This isn't a man. This is you're not a person. Shenemar zachar v'nekeva baram. Ayikra shmam Adam. Hashem created man and woman, and He called their name Adam. He called them Adam after He had two people, the zachar and the nekeva. Then they were called Adam. Adam just means they're created from the Adama. They're physical beings. Amar Elazar called Adam she'ein lo karka eino Adam. If you don't own land, if you don't own real estate, you're not a person. The heavens belong to Hashem. The land is supposed to belong to people. What does it mean that Hashem says? Everyone wonders what this means. We're going to make for him an Ezer, a helpmate, a helper, Kenegdo. Zaka was Rasso. These words seem seemingly two different things. Ezer means she's going to help you. Kenegdo means she opposes you. She's going to cause fights with you. Zacha is Rasso if he's lucky. I'm not going to explain it as lucky. He Zocha. A Zechus is a credit. He gets a credit. Ozrasso, she'll be a wife that's going to help him. Lo Zacha. If he's not using credit, he's in debit. This is going to be my explanation of good wife versus bad wife. What you do with a bad wife. Lo Zacha, Kinegdo. She's going to be opposing him. She'll give him every turn he makes. She'll oppose him. She'll give him a hard time with every decision he makes to follow through with it. Kenegdo. Vika da Amri, Rabbi Elazar Rami Ksiv, Elazar contrasted the psukim, Kenegdo, Kenigdo. You read it, Kenigdo. And it's written, Kenegdo. Zacha, Kenegdo, if he merits it or he gets credit, she opposes him. Lo Zacha min Agdaso. If he's really in debit, she's actually going to beat him up. She's going to whip him into shape. I don't know if physically means maybe just words. Ashkei Rabbi Yossi Eliyahu. Rabbi Yossi found Eliyahu and Avi. I'm like, Ksiv Esel Elizer. May show us Russell Adam. How could a woman help a man? She's not helping him. She's weaker than him. The man has to do all the things. He has to make all the decisions in the house. He has to take complete responsibility for the house. Everyone says marriage is 50-50 or marriage is 100-100. Everyone gives 100%. No. The truth is marriage is 100-0. The woman has no responsibility. She has no obligations in the marriage. You're right. The Gemara in Ksuva says she has certain shibudim that she has to her husband. But ultimately, she can't do it, and she complains she's too weak or too lazy. The husband has to take over. The man is 100% responsible. A marriage is 100-0. That is the truth. The man is responsible. He has to know how to do everything in the household. He's responsible. The wife can't do the laundry. She can't cook. She can't bake. She can't fix the clothes. You have to know how to do it yourself, or you have to call someone for help. The man is responsible for everything in the marriage. 100-0. That is the truth of marriage. So, at least in my opinion, right? I can give you my opinion. You can decide whether it's truth or not. So the Gemara says, how does a man help? How does a lady help her husband? I'm like, Adam maybe chitin koses. If he brings home wheat from the field, right? He's a farmer. He brings home wheat, or he buys wheat, and he's not going to eat raw wheat. He's going to chew raw wheat. Pishtan lovish. He brings home linen, some fabrics from the store. Right, he's going to wear the fabrics that are not woven into a garment. Limsis meira enough moidas a ragla of a woman. She enlightens his eyes. She helps him eat good food, and she helps him have normal clothing that he should be able to walk outside comfortably. Amar Elazar Ma'idich Zos hapam etzem masama ivasim usari malami jabadam al kol behima v'chaya v'naskara daito ajbal chava. Originally, Adam created, he was guilty, or he did bestiality. He was together with all the animals. And then he said, now I found Koras Ruach, now I found contentment. When did he find contentment? When he found a woman to be together with. V'nivrachu is plural. Over these two, bracha means a blessing, also means a shoot. I have two shoots. Shoot is in a plant. A shoot is an extension of a plant. You graft into Kali Yisrael. Rus Hamoaviyah. Rus was her progeny was David HaMelech. V'nama Amonis Naama Amonis was also a convert to Klal Yisrael. Her descendants numbered the kings of Yehuda, the Bayis Rishon. Kol mishpachos ha'adama, afilu mishpachos ha'daros ba'adama, emes baruchos el b'shvil Yisrael. Anyone who lives in this world, their blessing, a different Joshua this pasuk, their blessing only comes on account of Yisrael. Kol goyi ha'aretz. Every nation of the world, even the ones that are seafaring, afilu sfinos avos megalia laspamia, even boats that come from Gallia. Where's Gallia? Some say it's Gaul, ancient France. Aspamia, some say it's Spain. Go to France to Spain, some say Gallia. I mean, from the waves, I don't know. I would say it means from the islands where there are a lot of waves washing ashore. You go to any one of the Caribbean islands, to Spain. Anyways, Baruch Yisrael, only blessed on account of Yisrael. In the future, it's going to be all the people who have trades. They're going to stand on the ground. Meaning, this is the truth of the world. A lot of people preoccupy themselves with real estate. Right? They're going to stand on the real estate. They'll either own their own house, they'll own other properties. They'll take all their jobs as sailors and they'll stand on the ground, they'll own real estate. The worst type of trade to engage in is real estate. They went down. They went down from being sailors to people, owners of real estate. He saw a certain piece of land that was planted cabbage widthwise. Even if you planted it lengthwise, but there'd be more room to plant the cabbage, you'll make a lot more money trading stocks. Rav al lebene shivli. Rav went into a field. Chazan the knife, and he saw the plants. They were blowing in the wind. Some say it means weed. Others say it means the weeds of the front yard of that real estate you're trying to sell, that property. However much it blows, however much wheat there is to grow, how many weeds there are, it's better to deal with the stock market. You take 100 coins, you put it in the stock market. You're going to have meat and wine. You're going to be dining on wine and steak. You put your money into real estate. Milcha b'chufra, you're gonna dip your bread in salt. B'chafura, you can eat weeds. Not gonna have good food. You're gonna be worried about your real estate. Not only that, real estate eventually makes you lie on the ground. Maramile tigri, of course, it causes many lawsuits against you. You got to court a lot. It's not a good idea. It's really true. Meaning, if you engage in the stock market, how much do you have to deal with? I don't know, a couple hours, check it a couple times, like our Witho says. Even if you check it pre-market, after-market, still, I mean, it's pretty easy. Make a couple trades, you learn how to do it. Much easier life. You can relax at night. You can eat wine and steak. You have real estate. You're always on the phone trying to make these calls. You have to do with the maintenance, and there's a problem with the doors, and there's a problem with the air conditioning, and there's a problem with this, and a problem with that. Managing real estate, or owning real estate for that matter, is a big headache. You might make a lot of money, but it'll ruin your life. Take it from the Gemara. Gemara is saying, some people say the Gemara is about farming, but of course the Gemara is talking about nowadays also. No one farms anymore, really. Most people don't farm. Gemara says, Amar Papa Zaro al Tizbin. You should plant and you shouldn't sell your stuff. And you shouldn't buy. Even if it's the same price to plant your own crops and to buy something from the market. I mean, to plant your own apple tree, to buy apples from this grocery store. The ones that you grow will be blessed more. Zavin v'lo tezel. Hani Zavin v'lo tezel. Hani mili b'ishraki. You should buy things and not sell them. This is talking about you should sell them and you shouldn't become poor. You sell certain things, they'll become poor. Hani mili b'ishraki. When you're fancy rugs, your Persian rugs, you should sell them if you need money. But don't sell your clothing if you're not going to find clothing as nice as my new Nautica deck polo shirt over here. Sporting it over here. It's a little bit of a statement to wear a polo shirt in the Haredi community over here. No one else is wearing a white polo shirt. But you know what? It's a summer. It's hot. Everyone's wearing these long white sleeve shirts. And some people wear The shorts, button-down white sleeve shirts, I'll tell you the truth, they don't look very nice. It's important for me to be comfortable and to look nice also and presentable. They don't look nice, those shorts even. Why should I sweat away in the long sleeve button down shirts? A nice polo shirt, a white one, of course, not any color, chas v'sholom. You know what a go one I got? Just got it today from Amazon. Makes you feel good, You feel good. You have to look. I look good. I feel comfortable. Some people say I don't look good, but it depends on your perspective. If you want your person to look like a Haredi person, you're right, I don't look good, but I still look good. It's not in the Haredi eyes. All right. So the Gemara says, Tom v'lo tashbitz. Tom v'lo tashbitz. You should, if you have a small hole in your wall, fill it up and don't renovate the whole wall. Shvotz v'lo tivni. If you like something a little more aesthetically pleasing, so renovate the whole wall, but don't start knocking down your house and building your own house. If you have to be a contractor or hire a contractor, you'll end up being a poor person. You see the contractors, they make a lot of money, but they live like poor men, slaves, especially to do their own work. If you have the opportunity to buy real estate, you should buy real estate, not to sit to make business out of it, but to own a house. Matun Nasib, before getting married, you should contemplate whether she's really the right guy for you, or really whether the girl should contemplate whether she's the right guy, or the man should contemplate whether she's the right girl. After 3 dates, I don't know if that's called contemplating, or if you see this world after 30 minutes. I'm not really sure if that fits the Gemara. You should go down a level when you marry a woman. Marry a woman who's poorer than you, right? Makes sense, right? If you marry a woman who's richer than you, she'll always feel she needs money. You should go up a level when you're getting advice, someone, a good confidant in your business, or your friend, right? Make someone who's wealthier, who's been more successful. Punishment only comes to the world on account of Klal Yisrael's sins. I destroyed the goyim. I knocked down their buildings. I destroyed their cities. Next pasuk in Sefania, it says that it's on account of Klal Yisrael didn't take Musar. They didn't fear Hashem. Rav Hava Miftar and Rechia. Rav was leaving Rabbi Chia, who was his uncle. Amalei Rachmana Litzlach Memidi the Kasha and Mosar. Rabbi Chia said to him, Hashem should save you from something that's worse than death. Umika Midi the Kasha and Mosar is something worse than death. Davak Dava Ashkach. Rav went and found Mosar, the pasuk of Mosar Imar Mavis Laisha. Worse than death is a bad woman. Rav Hava Kamatsarali to be so. Rav, his wife, was one of those Isha Ra, is a bad lady. She was causing him pain. When she said, make a lentil soup, he went to make a lentil soup for me. She made him pea soup. He wanted a split pea soup. She made him mushroom and barley soup, a lentil soup. When Chia, his son, Rav named his son after his uncle, Afichla, he reversed it, and he wanted his father to get the right food, so he just told the mother the opposite, and he ended up getting what he wanted. Amrle Yalilach Yimach. He said to his son, wow, your mother's getting better, she's improving. Amrle Anahu the Kafich. He told him the truth. I just switched it around. You wanted a lentil soup, I told her make a pea soup. Amrle Hainu the Kami Inshi. That's what people say. The children sometimes teach you how to live life. They give you better ways of living life. He said, still, you shouldn't do what you did. If you start mixing up your words, you start saying things that are untruthful, and cause yourself problems. Rabbi Chia himself, the uncle, his wife was bothering him. When he found something nice, a piece of chocolate, nice jewelry, he wrapped it up for her. He brought it to her. She's causing you pain. Why are you doing favors to her? You're right, it's terrible, I have a bad wife, but at least she raises the children and she saves us from sinning with other women. You have a woman to be together with, and they raised your children for you. Who's responsible to raise the children? And the woman. That's the only thing they're really responsible for. To raise the children. Makri Rav Yehuda Rav Yitzchak. Top of Rav Yehuda Rav Yitzchak Bray. Rav Yehuda said to Rav Yitzchak, his son, Umotz any Mimari Mavis Ha'isha. Amalek Higon Man. He told him this pasuk, something's worse than death. The woman is worse than death. So he said, which type of woman is that? And he responded to him, Kigon Imcha. He told the son, his own son, your mother is worse than death. Lashon Hara. How could he say this on his wife? Unbelievable. Hamastili Rav Yehuda Rav Yitzchak Berei. But how could this be? Rav Yehuda told Rav Yitzchak, his son, you only find contentment from your first wife. Your bedroom should be blessed, I guess that's what it means. Be only happy with the woman of your youth, the one you married when you were young. He said, he said, even your mother, I find happiness with her. So he explains, no, she's not a great wife. She gets angry very easily, but she's easy to appease. If you appease her, she gets appeased very easily. She forgets about it. The Mila, even with one word. What's considered a bad woman? She sets the table for you. She cooks you a nice meal. You sit down to eat, and she starts lashing out at you. She gives it to you about you did this wrong, you did that wrong. Yeah, some people experience that. That's a Bai's opinion. This is also very common. Women will set the table for you. They cook you a nice meal. And then they find an excuse. They have something else to do. They fold laundry. They have to, make a phone call. And whatever they have to do, they don't sit down to eat with you. They don't sit down to eat with you. You have to sit down to eat with your husband. I mean, give him respect a little bit. And once a person marries a woman, his sins are withheld. Meaning you don't feel the effect of your sins at that point. Find a good wife, a yafik, same lashon mispak. You'll get ratzon, you'll get endearment from Hashem. It'll hold up the bed. In Eretz Yisrael, when they married a wife, they said to the chassid, I guess after he got married, matzah or motze. They asked him matzah or motze. What does it mean? Matzah, dichsiv matzah isha matzah. Was your wife a good wife? She's a good wife. What is a good wife? A good wife is a wife that goes along with her husband's wishes. Mara says, "Ein isha kshera she'osa rosh misha osa rosh baila." Her husband has a decision; he wants to do something. The woman goes along with it. She doesn't put up fights. She doesn't give questions. She's mavadil her das to her husband. It's really true. It's really true. If you want to know what a good wife is a wife that goes along with her husband's decisions, doesn't fight him. He makes his decisions. He's capable. He makes his decisions. A man has to make the decisions. And the woman doesn't fight him. She goes along with him with his ritzonos. It's really true. It makes her happy. A good wife. Motza dichsiv umotza ani mimar mimaves. Or motza, is she a bad wife? The pasuk says, I found something worse than death at Aisha, a bad wife. Amarava. How could they do this? Lashon hara. Hashem. They asked the people, the chasanim in yeshiva. He came back after Sheva brachos. Matzah motza. And he's telling him, motza. Lashon hara. Look at the Chafetz Chaim. Maybe he talks about this. Amarava Isha Ra Mitzvah the Garsha. This is an unbelievable statement over here. Rava says, you have a bad wife, you got married into a bad marriage, you have to divorce her. Dichsiv Garish leit v'yatza madan v'yeshvos din v'kolon. Get rid of a scoffer. Get rid of the fights that it brings into your house and the embarrassment. Amarava Isha Ra v'ksulas marava. Let's say you have a bad wife. So you're supposed to supposedly divorce her. We'll see in Ian Benson exactly what this means. But she has a big suva. You promised her a lot of money, and you don't have the money to pay it off. Sarasa Besida, how do you make your wife a better wife? Marry another wife. You can affect the wife's behavior more by marrying another woman, and even by thorns. You pierce her with thorns. Marrying another woman will cause her to want to earn your respect, to earn your love, because she wants to be loved. That's what a woman really wants more than anything. She wants to be loved. That's what she's searching for. That gives her contentment in a marriage, that she feels and knows that her husband loves her. Ramarava, Kasha Isha Ra Kiyom Sagriar. It's terrible, a bad wife, like a day that you're closed in by the rain. Shenemar Delef Torid Bayom Sagriar Ish Madan Ishtabe. A woman is equated with a drip or a rain, a downpour that causes you to be confined in your house. See how great a good wife is. How bad a bad wife is. Right? The pasuk says, you found a good wife. You found Tov, Ibegava Mishnah. The pasuk actually talking about Isha is talking about a woman. Kama Tov Isha Tova Shakasim Mishabcha. Torah praises her. Mishlei praises her. Iba Torah Mishlei Isha doesn't always mean a woman. It means the Torah. Kama Tova Isha Tova Shatorah Nimshala. But still, you see from the pasuk how great a good wife is. That in the way of describing the Torah, it compares it all a woman. Kama Ra Isha Ra. How bad is a bad wife? I found worse than death. My wife. Iba Gava Mishlei. It's talking about a woman. Kamara Isha Rasha Kasam Magana. Torah says it's bad to have a bad wife. Gehenim Ishtayikraft. Isha is not referring to an actual woman, it's referring to Gehenim. Kamara Isha Rasha Gehenim Shlava. Still, Mishlei uses the word Isha to compare it to Gehenim. So you see from that the comparison and how bad a bad wife is. Maybe Ra Shalich Latzmena. Amar Nachman Avu Azu Isha Ra. A terrible thing, a catastrophe that Hashem brings upon you is married to a bad wife and you owe her a lot of money for a ksuba, you can't really divorce her. Nasati Hashem biyadi leuchal kum. Amar Chista Amar Marukva Barchi is Isha Ra Miksuvasa Maruba. Another pasuk. I'll give you something bad. You can't get up from it. It's a thing terrible. You can't. You can't even get up out of bed. It's so painful for you. That's a bad wife and excessive ksuva. Marava Amru in Eretz Yisrael, he says Dushman Tluyim Bekaspo. It's talking about someone whose parnasa is dependent on his actual money. He's always paying things in cash because basically he lives from one month to the next, from one paycheck to the next. His paycheck for that month suffices or almost suffices what he has to buy for the coming month. He's always carrying around cash because he can't pay with a credit card. Amar Rav Chana Barava, Amar Rav, this is a reference to Eishes Av, to a stepmother, right? You marry another woman, and your kids from the previous marriage, she becomes a stepmother. She favors her own kids from a different marriage more than your kids, stepkids. Another pasuk, how terrible it is, a bad wife and her big ksuva. These are the Sadukim. Omer, Amar Nava, Belibo, Ein Elokim. Nava, disgusting person said Ein Elokim. Right? That's what Sadukim said. They deny the existence of God. Masizatana, Elo Anshe Baravia, Anshe Martanai, Shemahalchin Arum Bashuk, Shein Lecha Mashugas, Matu of Nea Makum, Yosim Shahalach Bashuk Arum. They basically walk naked in the marketplace outdoors. I don't think it means they are completely naked. I don't know, maybe it does. I don't know. These are places. Mauritania is a country presently in Africa, and Barbary refers to the Barbary states, which is basically Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia, Libya, Algeria. I think those 5 countries are called the Barbary states, Northern Africa. The people there, it's very hot there. It's middle of the Sahara Desert over there. So these 2 countries are always walking around maybe completely naked or mostly naked, especially on the beaches there. That's disgusting in front of Hashem. Amar Elucha, Rabbi Yochanan Amar, so this pasuk is referred to Eluch Havarim, the Chaverim, these people from Persia that were mean. We find the Klal Yisrael, they make zeros against them. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, they said to Rabbi Yochanan, Asu Chavrai LeBavel. These people from Persia came to Bavel. Shagan Afal, he killed over. He wasn't able to get up. Amar Lei Makabli Shukta, they said, it's not so bad, they take bribes. Taritz Yosef, he got up. Gazral Gimel Me Gimel, they made 3 decrees and the Babylonians because of 3 averos. Gazal al-Basar matanos. They made a law you can't do shchita because they weren't giving matanos to Kahuna. Gazal mechatzelos me'atvila. There goes there. They couldn't use the bathhouses, the spas me'atvila because they weren't keeping the laws of Taras Mishpacha. Gamechati shechvi. They were exhuming the dead people. They were taking them out of their graves and just smeicham yomedam because the Jews were happy during the holidays of the Goyim, like Mother's Day. You can't be happy during Mother's Day. Which was yesterday. Hashem's hand will be against you and your forefathers. With your forefathers, the ones that were dead already. Is uncovering, taking out dead people from the graves. Because the live people do sins, that causes dead people to be taken out of the graves, which is very painful to the body of the dead person. One pasuk says people won't be buried and they'll be considered like dung on the earth. And one of the pasuk says another pasuk says there's better death than life. Amalei if you're gonna die and you're gonna be like dung on the earth, maybe it's better not to die. It's not saying that people would choose it. It's just really it should be better for Rishayim that they should die. It's better than they should die than they should sin and fall in Gehenna. Qasim Sefer Ben Sira. Ben Sira is an apocryphal manuscript or sefer that was written in the beginning of Bayis Sheni. We have parts of it. So here it quotes from it, interesting in the Gemara. Isha Tova Matana Tova, a good wife is like a good present, a Baala to her husband. Tova B'chei Kirei Elokim. A good wife is given into the bosom, into the lap of someone who fears Hashem, to nothing, be given over. Isha Ra Tzaras the Baila, a bad wife, she's like leprosy to her son. Maita Kanta Yigarashana, how do you fix her? Again, we said, see this, you should divorce her, Shapim and Sarasa, and be cured from the Saras. Isha Yafa, beautiful lady. Isha Ashe Baila, it's fortunate a husband to have a beautiful wife. Mispar Yamav Kiflayim, his days will be elongated, doubled. It's like every day enjoys, like he's living more than 24 hours, 48 hours. Halamenacha Meisha Schein, a charming woman, a woman who knows how to seduce you with her mouth. Hey, you should stay away from her. Pentulakim, so also maybe trapped in her trap. Al Tad, it's a baila. Lim Sochimo, her husband who's married to this charming woman, you shouldn't go near him. You shouldn't drink wine and beer with the Ayim Sheikh. Isha Yafa Rabim Hushkasu, because the appearance of a beautiful lady, Ta'or Isha Yafa, means both things in terms of she's able to persuade you with her words. It's a physically beautiful body. Many people were destroyed. People are killed based on this. People who sell perfumes or they peddle words and they go around to women telling tales. It's gonna eventually cause them to be over on their riots. These peddlers, when they talk with these women, it's like a spark that lights up a coal. Kikluv male oaf, like a coop full of birds. Ken batei malay and mirmo. These houses become full of deceit. They end up cheating on their wives. Atatzer saras machar kilotei damayel yom. You shouldn't be worried about what's going to happen tomorrow, because you don't know what's going to happen today. Shema machar bav and eno nimsa. Maybe he'll die today. There's no point of worrying tomorrow. Mitzara olam shein shalom. He's going to be worried about a life that's really not his. He's going to end up dead. No rabbim mitoch beisecha. Don't have the public. Don't make your house a place for the public meetings. Even when you bring singular guests to your house, you should be careful who you bring into your house. Rabim you darshe shlomecha. You should give shalom. You should want to have shalom and peace and say hello to a lot of people. But to have a really strong confidant, someone who's a real friend of yours, 1 out of 1,000, and make sure you choose wisely. Mashiach doesn't come until all the neshamos in his goof are gone. Right, when there's a ruach of Hashem, the ruach of Hashem, so to speak, atifa is to wrap around Hashem. The ruach, the spirit of Hashem, comes when the neshamos that I made, Asisi, are gone from the goof of Mashiach, then Ben David will come. We're going to stop here. There's more to talk about Pirei V'Rivya tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get more into the details, the halachic nafkaminas and ramifications of it. See you in the end. We'll talk about, do we really have to divorce a wife who's a bad wife?